Hey, this is Matthew from BI Polar. In this episode of our series on being a PM at Microsoft, I'm going to talk about one of the core tenets of Microsoft's cultural values, and that is having a growth mindset. I hope you'll stay with me. Welcome back. If you're new to the series, please make sure to check out the introductory video where I talk about my goals and plans for the series as a whole. Essentially, I've been a PM at Microsoft for over 15 years, and in this series, I want to share with you the advice and the information and the lessons that I wish that someone had shared with me when I first started. I hope that if you are a PM at Microsoft today, if you're an adjacent role or work for a similar company, or if being a PM at Microsoft is part of your career goals, that you'll watch the series and hopefully be better prepared for the challenges and the joy that being a PM at Microsoft can bring. For a lot of these videos, I start off by saying essentially, these are the things that no one told me. Like I wish that someone had told me these things when I first started. And for this video, this is a little bit different because the concept of having a growth mindset is something that, at least starting in the Satya era, so starting around 10 years ago, 2013, 2014, like this was everywhere, but it never really landed with me. So it's not that nobody told me, it's that they didn't tell me in a way that I understood, like what they meant and maybe how I should act or what this lesson was supposed to bring. So in this video, instead of sharing the thing that no one said, I'm going to share the thing that everybody said, but I'm going to paraphrase it in a way that might reach you in a way that the original communication never really reached me. If you were on campus at Microsoft in Redmond 10 years ago, you'd see signs like this in every conference room. There'd be a little sticker on the giant wall of whiteboard that said, is this meeting a fixed mindset meeting or is it a growth mindset meeting? I always interpreted that as being a reminder. Remember to think about your goals for this meeting because some meetings can be fixed mindset meetings, some meetings can be growth mindset meetings, and this was an absolute miss on my part. The goal of these stickers was to remind everybody in the room that having a growth mindset is part of the Microsoft culture. This is the way that we say, like we tell ourselves, we work with a growth mindset. And basically to remind everyone that having a fixed mindset is not the mindset that you're supposed to have. So change your mental gears before the meeting begins. And I assume like everybody at Microsoft got this but me. But of course, every time that I assume this and say it out loud, somebody raises their hand and says like, oh no, I didn't get that either. So the concept of having a growth mindset is pretty well documented. If you use your favorite search engine and search for growth mindset Microsoft, you'll find any number of articles from Microsoft about what this means and so on and so forth. Like this is all there and available now. So I'm going to use this video as an opportunity to kind of put things in my own words with 3 tips, like 3 behaviors that for me, having a growth mindset is all about. One of the phrases that you will often see in the official communication about having a growth mindset is that having a growth mindset means being a learn-it-all instead of being a know-it-all. You're always willing to learn. And this is the first tip. Always be willing to change your mind. And this sounds really obvious, right? Like, of course, we're all willing to change our mind when new evidence comes in, when circumstances change, when the rules of the game are being adjusted. Of course we are being willing to change our mind, to look at things with fresh eyes and to come at it with a new perspective, to take a different position than we had at the beginning. Like we all say this, a lot of people really struggle with this. Having a growth mindset where you are willing to change your mind, you said one thing before, like going back to say, wow, like now that I've heard this additional evidence, or now that I've had a chance to think about it more, now that this thing has changed, I have changed my mind and I agree with the person or the position that I've disagreed with before. Like, this is not always easy to do from an ego attached emotional perspective, but it's one of the things that you must be willing to do and maybe do regularly to be successful as a PM at Microsoft. The second thing that I want to say about having a growth mindset is you need to be willing to change your plan. Now, we've talked about the importance of being aligned to problems and not aligned to solutions in past videos. This is very closely related to this. If you have a plan of action, you have a specific solution that you want to implement, like when circumstances change, you need to be able to avoid that sunk cost fallacy and say, even though we've started moving towards this goal, like we're going to stop, we're going to step back, we're going to change the plan and adjust what we're doing, even if we were already executing on the old thing. When circumstances change and your understanding changes, part of having a growth mindset is being willing to stop and realign your efforts and maybe abandon the investments that you've already put in, or to shelve or deprioritize the investments that you've already put in. And the third thing that I want to throw out there is, like, you need to be willing to stick to your perspective as well. Having a growth mindset doesn't mean saying yes to every new thing that comes in. It means that you need to be able to incorporate new evidence as it comes in. But if that new evidence, if the changing circumstances of all the variables that you didn't see when you were starting that are now available or visible to you today, like if they tell you that your original plan was right and good, this is the best course of action, not just then, but now, you need to be able to stick to your guns. You need to be able to hold that position and not necessarily change willy-nilly. Change when the circumstances and the information that's available to you says that changing is the right thing to do. Because here's the deal. If you know what your organization needs and you can remain focused on that problem that you need to solve, having a growth mindset can help you get the most both from your personal efforts and from your team and your colleague and all of the teams that you're working with. This is really a key to getting the most impact from the work that you're doing on a day-to-day basis. If you have a fixed mindset and you remain like unwilling to change your plan or unwilling to consider other ways of looking at things, this will often mean that you are left behind and that the effort that you're putting in is actually detracting from the impact of others, in addition to not delivering the impact that you need to succeed and grow in your role. So I hope that this was valuable. Let me know in the comments, etc., etc. Hope to see you next week as well.